On today's show, Victor Wembanyama's debut gets spoiled by the Dallas Mavericks. Talk about him. Boston Celtics, new look. Kristaps Porzingis looking pretty good. Drew Holiday, we'll talk about that. And is the James Harden trade dead? Talk about all that and more on today's Locked On NBA. Let's go.
You are Locked On NBA, your daily NBA podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome. You are locked on to the NBA. My name is Nick Angstadt, host of the Locked On Mavericks podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for being part of the show, making Locked On Mavs, Locked On NBA your first listen, where the best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day and to comment anything. I knew I would do that. Comment anything below. Let us know, what was your reaction to Victor Wembanyama's NBA debut? Careful. Get called for another foul. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. This is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA. Use the code LockedOnNBA, all lowercase, LockedOnNBA, for a first deposit match up to $100. And joining me, as always, on a Thursday, host of Locked On Bulls. What you got for me, Pat the Designer?
Contrary to popular belief, Victor Wembanyama did not know what he needed to do.
Greg Popovich did say, I don't got to tell him. He knows what he's got to do. He
picked up the foul.
He didn't get the sixth one, though. So, hey, he didn't get the sixth one, though. We'll talk about Victor. We'll talk about the Mavs spoiling it. We'll talk about the new look Celtics. Kristaps Porzingis looking pretty good in that one. And then, of course, we'll play everybody's new favorite sound effect, Count It Up, where we count out the most interesting, fun things in the NBA, including, is the James Harden trade really dead? Clippers backing out of it. Jordan Poole, his legacy is taken care of. We'll talk about him and more. Let's start here, Pat.
The Clippers were ever backed into it. I think that's really the statement there.
Let's talk about Victor Wembanyama. The Spurs lose his debut 119 to 126. The energy was insane. They come out of the gate 43 points in that first quarter. The pace was just insane going back and forth. Victor Wembanyama blocked a Kyrie mid-range jumper. It was like, holy cow, the vibes are going to be insane in this one. You had him, he hit 2 threes in the first. He had that block. He had an assist. He had a couple of rebounds. The spacing with him, I thought, was just going to be a problem overall. And you just looked at it and you're like, man, oh my gosh, this team is all of a sudden putting it together. And then he gets a couple of fouls, gets some more fouls. Got his fifth foul at the beginning of the fourth quarter, was really limited. Ended up playing 23 minutes in this game. Finished the game with 15 points, 5 boards, 2 assists, 5 turnovers, had that 1 block, hit 3 threes in this one. What'd you think about Victor Wembanyama's debut?
Listen, it is a learning experience, the adaptation from the Euro leagues to the NBA. A lot of times there is that moment where those younger guys have to realize, oh, wait, y'all don't like contact here, because you see a lot of the stuff that goes on in FIBA and different things like that. They get to play a lot more physical. Surprisingly enough, Victor Wembanyama was the guy who was being a lot more physical tonight, but has to be able to adjust to this league. But even with all of that, he played 23 minutes and 19 seconds. And that time he put up 15 points, 2 steals, 1 block, 2 assists, and 5 rebounds. This guy is going to be ridiculous. And it's how he's playing the game, right? You see in that fourth quarter when he finally starts to heat up, gets a little bit more time on the court, gets a little bit more opportunity to get in some rhythm. It's not like he's going down in the post and he's dominating with these post moves, this footwork and all that. It's off of a right to left handle crossover pull up 3 to jay it in the face of a Mavs player. Like, what are we? 7-5 Kevin Durant is really happening right now, and it is impressive to see. Even in the limited minutes, he's going to have to adjust a little bit to the how aggressive he can be. He's also going to have to, be a little more conscious to me of where he is in the foul game. Like I said, to start this off, right? Pop says he knows what he needs to do. I thought he was maybe a little bit aggressive, just continuing that in that second half. Picked up 3 fouls quickly in that third quarter. But, I like what I saw from the young man, especially in that fourth quarter. I ain't going to lie to you, though. Keldon Johnson. That's the question.
We're not talking about Keldon Johnson. Victor,
no, I'm just saying, bro. In the Wembanyama game, this ain't your game. The last 3 shots are in your hand, and you're not kicking the basketball out. Come on.
I'm the all-star. I played on Team USA. I got the $20 million a year. Come at me, bro. This is my team. He finished with 17, 9, and 7.
That's what Carlos Boozer said right before they got him up out of there when LeBron showed up. You
Was
know
that
what I mean?
before or after the shoe polish?
It's still happening. It's continuing.
Okay. In the midst of the shoe polish. But with Wembanyama, I mean, we talk about this with rookie centers a ton, and we talked about it on Locked On Mavs with Lively. Like you're gonna have foul problems. Just adjusting to the speed of the game, the size of it, the difference, the energy. Like just even him coming out in that moment, you felt like there was just some jitters and some of that. Like the energy was so high, it was just unsustainable early on. Like those vibes were not. Sorry, San Antonio. The vibes were not going to be that immaculate for the entire game or the whole season. And I'm going to say something stupid, but I think it's true. The things that make Victor Wembanyama great: his size, he's 7'4", 8-foot wingspan, his ability to move, like his movement, like the way that he can handle the ball. I was watching the layup lines at the beginning, waiting for this game to start because it took forever because that Knicks Celtics game was taking forever to finish. And he's at the top of the key with the ball as they're everybody's just shooting around him. And he's doing the switch legs and then between the legs, back and forth, dribbling the ball between back and forth with the dexterity of a guard. And you're like, these are the things that make him great. But I think the things that make him great can also get in the way, especially early on in your career. And I think that's how he got fouls. There's so much of him. He's so long that he can be he can foul somebody from far away where another player couldn't necessarily. And I think that kind of get into some of the screen stuff where he's setting a screen and you're like, oh, his elbow's out. Yeah, his elbow's out. It's 8 feet long. Of course it's going to be out. And so I thought that's where he got in a little trouble. There's going to be some ticky-tack stuff here or there. It just so happened that Wembanyama was on the bad end of it. Lively was on the good end of it in this. But you see in some of those stretches where he hits a couple of threes, he gets a dunk, he blocks a shot. You see that he's going to put it all together eventually. And it may be sooner rather than later because you felt him when he was on the court every time.
I think even, looking at it, right, he's going to have to – the adjustment to me is going to be, okay, how am I going to adjust to what NBA defenses are going to do? I thought that I know everybody hold on to your butts on this one. The Dallas Mavericks came out with a really good game plan defensively for the San Antonio Spurs and Victor Wembanyama.
Not in the first quarter, they did not.
Well, yeah, the first quarter was a disaster.
Also, actually, I will say the game plan was probably good because we saw the game plan.
Yeah.
We saw the game plan. Everyone saw the game plan. The game plan was left in front of the hotel room, and somebody picked it up, and they posted it everywhere. I've got one on Nick Van Exit on TikTok, on Instagram. You can go find that. The game plan was everywhere. So the game plan, I think, was fine, but the Mavs... I
saw that earlier. I was laughing, and it was just on the floor. But I thought that, that Dallas actually came out with a good... let me say adjustment then to get back
they adjusted for
game
sure
plan in that second quarter throughout. And that Victor had 5 turnovers in this game, right? They just knew how to attack him. I thought Grant Williams did a really good job on him as well. And listen, it's surprising to see defense from Dallas, but at least early on it looked better. I'm not going to say it looked good, but it looked better.
The Jason Kidd, everyone, all Mavs fans are complaining by that starting lineup. They started Maxi Kleber, Dereck Jones Jr. with Luka, Kyrie, and Grant Williams, the guys we think are going to be the starters. Jason Kidd completely overthought that lineup. Just completely overthought it. He goes, I want some more size on the wing because the Spurs, they start Sohan and they start Keldon Johnson and Wembanyama and Collins. There's so much length. I want some more length. So he went with the more length with Dereck Jones Jr. over Josh Green. And then he's like, I want the spacing because we want to pull Victor Wembanyama out of the paint. And so they went with Maxi Kleber instead of Dereck Lively. And then you tried it at the beginning and you realize, oh, we're getting neither of those things. We're not getting spacing because Wembanyama plays the 4. So he's guarding Dereck Jones Jr., who he doesn't have to guard because he's not a three-point shooter. So then the Mavs went with Josh Green more. And when Victor Wembanyama in the second quarter had to defend Josh Green more, there was more spacing for the Mavericks because Wembanyama wasn't as a part of as many plays. And so that pulled him out of the lane instead. And so it ended up working for him. Can I talk about Lively for a second?
Let's get into some Lively.
We raved about him on Locked On Mavs, but Lively was the best rookie center in the game tonight.
He might have been the best rookie in the NBA tonight. I'm not going to lie to you.
He was incredible. 16 points, 10 boards. He had a steal and he did get credited for a block shot. They just changed it. And then he got an assist. He was amazing. Played 30 minutes. He looked so poised out there. His ability he just does the things that the Mavericks need him to do. The Mavericks need a center. And gosh darn it, they need a center like this for years, since Tyson Chandler, honestly.
Yeah.
To just catch lobs, set screens, defend, get rebounds. Do those things. That's it. Do those things. Play their defense the way that they want to. Defend, pick and roll. Like, do all that. And he does it. He does it so well. He's so ready for this moment. I'm so excited for him. It's stupid that he didn't start, but he finished the game, which I didn't think Jason Kidd was going to do. I thought it would be the opposite. I thought he would start lively and then end up closing every game with Maxi Kleber. He ends up doing the opposite in this one. But there you go. Victor Wembanyama's debut was spoiled. We didn't even talk about Luka. How about that? How about a whole Mavs adjacent segment? We didn't talk about Luka because Wembanyama was the story in this one. So
I love that Wembanyama was like, they were trying to still make Wembanyama the story. And then after the third quarter, they're like, well, this Dereck Lively guy, we got to mention him a little bit, right? And it was like, yeah, maybe a little bit.
Coming up, let's get into what the new look Celtics look like. Porzingis had a great game. Jayson Tatum had a great game. Jaylen Brown, not so much. What did they look like in their win against the Knicks? Talk about that coming up. But before we do, let me tell you about something that has helped me. Ibotta. You got Thanksgiving coming up. If you got family coming over, you're going to buy a bunch of stuff. You got to buy the food. You've got to buy the plates. You got to buy the napkins. It's got to be the plates with the weird Thanksgiving pattern on it, the paper plates, because who's doing dishes after Thanksgiving? You already got to do all the stuff that you're cooking. So with Ibotta, you can get cash back on all your grocery items, produce, personal care, pantry goods, all that kind of stuff. And starting November 1st, for the fourth year in a row, Ibotta is giving 100% cash back on your Thanksgiving feast. Just add the offers in the app to redeem everything you need to make your Thanksgiving feast complete. All you have to do is shop your favorite retailers and upload your receipt to the Ibotta app. Download the app. Use the code LOCKED to get 100% cash back on your Thanksgiving dinner starting November 1st. Again, that's Ibotta, IBOTTA is the app. Use the code LOCKED, one word, LOCKED, LOCKED. Ibotta in the Google Play or App Store. Use the code LOCK to earn cash back on hundreds of online brands, retailers. When you start with Ibotta using Lowe's, Macy's, Sephora, Best Buy, and more, Ibotta, Google Play, or App Store. Also, want to tell you about Prize Picks. Prize Picks is daily fantasy made easy. You can get Prize Picks and you can get all kinds of different props that you can go and pick the more or less on. All you have to do is go to Prize Picks, pick more or less on the over or under kind of deal on some players. You can win up to 25 times your money in football and all that. You can pick more or less Patrick Mahomes, couple touchdowns, Saquon Barkley, 60 yards or so. They have all that available for you. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA. Use the code LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. You can do that on Prize Picks. You can pick, they have points, rebounds, assists combinations. They have all kinds of things like that. It's pretty fun. Check it out. Again, prizepicks.com. That's daily fantasy made easy. And you can use that code LOCKEDONNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us on Locked On NBA, being an everydayer, listening every day. We have a daily Locked On show that covers your team. Check the link in the description to find the show that covers your team every day. All right, Pat, let's talk about the Boston Celtics, the New York Knicks, the Madison Square Garden, ESPN's new crew, all things feeling new and bright in this one. The Celtics get the win 108-104 against the Knicks. Kristaps Porzingis goes off for 30. Tatum with an easy 34, 11 boards in this one. What did you think about the new look Celtics?
First off, I got to start here. If I knew that Doc Rivers was going to get the job, I'd have kept Jeff Van Gundy.
Really?
Just hearing those vocal cords is tough for me. He's not bad, but I
was fine with it. I like that crew.
Got coaching vocal cords out here.
I'll take that crew over the. You know what they should not do anymore? Halftime. Shouldn't do halftime. I'm done with halftimes. Let's not have halftime. I'm Savannah James. I wouldn't, but I would. Come on, really? I would take Doc Rivers and Doris over that any day.
I like Doris. I love Doris. Actually, I'm not gonna lie to you. It's just the vocal cords. He's got to drink a lot more tea. He didn't prep enough for this season.
It's so far gone. So far gone.
Play up.
Listen, this man had to yell at Kendrick Perkins for a whole playoff run. It's done. It's done.
Oh, man. But no, looking at the Celtics, I think that they really found a really good combination here that accentuates what these young, the two young pieces that are the main pieces in Tatum and Brown can do. And on top of that, can pick up the slack on an off night. And I think we saw that tonight, right? Like, Jaylen Brown just could not get himself going at any point in this game, but he didn't need to. He didn't need to force it because of what Kristaps Porzingis was bringing and how efficiently he was playing. I was excited to see the Unicorn go out there and look a little bit more like himself. Now, I don't need him to be this every single night, but 30 points on the night. I mean, you can't ask for more than that. He gives you 8 rebounds as well. Shot the 3 ball pretty well. I mean, really well. 5 for 9 for the 3-point line. 8 for 15 on the day. Like, I looked at Kristaps' game tonight, and he wasn't sitting there working hard to get his shots. He was just rotating to the rim very well, finding himself good in good spots on the 3-point line, and being able to be efficient with that shot. That's what this team needed. Drew Holiday kind of bringing everything together. He couldn't get his shot going, but I thought that when you looked at this Celtics team tonight, there was that moment where you were like, they started coming back and you were like, okay, is this the time Brown's going to pick it up? All right, the Knicks are making their run. They're making a surge here. We kind of need somebody else to do it. Boom, right back in it. Kristaps comes in, big 3-pointer to finish things out. Like, that's what this team has been missing for – I don't know if it's been missing it. I don't want to say that, but the people you were relying on it to be was like, all right, Al, you got anything left in the tank at the end of the fourth quarter when we played you 30 minutes tonight? You know what I mean? Like Malcolm Brogdon, and he gave you a lot last season, but this is the piece to me that it feels like this team works well together, especially starting it off based on what we saw in preseason. Of course, there's a long way to go, but I'm excited by what we saw on day one of the Boston Celtics because it just feels like, okay, everybody can have their night as long as somebody's having their night.
That's the thing. Somebody's got to have it, right? You're not going to get this Kristaps Porzingis every night. Like you said, they don't need it to happen, but Tatum scored, Brown had 11 points, Holiday had 9 points. Any other year, probably, with those guys, if they have those nights on their original teams, it usually goes bad. But to have 4 guys like that, right, you just need 2 to go off at any night because, and this is the reason this is the case, is because their defense was awesome. I mean, you look at the 4 wing guard defenders on that team, White, Holiday, Tatum, Brown. And you're like, Porzingis, just stand back there and we'll funnel guys to you. That just works for them. That works so well. He got 4 blocks in this game. And it worked well. I mean, you've got 2 of the best perimeter defenders in Holiday and Dereck White in the game right now, all defense guy perennially. And then Tatum and Brown, not slouches on defense either. I mean, if you've got that working for you, you can create a defense. And I understand why they go with 1 big now. But they can also go 2 bigs too. With Horford, they need to change that and go a little bit bigger or go smaller. The problem is they don't have any depth, really. I mean, that was pretty glaring in this game for a couple moments. They don't have depth, and then they are kind of like they are limited their offensive ceiling because if they do want to score more than 108 points, which I think 108 points. How many games would they have won if they scored 108? They would definitely beat the Rockets. I don't think they would
beat the Bulls.
They would have beat the Timberwolves and the Bulls. Okay, they would have won like half the game scoring 108 points, right? Like if they've got to raise their ceiling a little bit with the offense, they've got to get more than 2 of these guys going at once because there's just not that many options outside of the 4, right?
Yeah, and I think the thing was, right, like the only person who had a good night from the 3-point line as well is Kristaps Porzingis. You're talking about Tatum. He went 3 for 8. You know what I mean? Not the worst, but I mean, outside of that, Drew 1 for 5. Dereck White 1 for 3. Al Horford was 2 for 3. Okay, but he's not going to give you a ton. That drop off is real that you talked about there. I mean, like you see your first 6 basically playing 25 plus minutes, and then you see your next 3 in Sam Hauser, Peyton Pritchard, and Luke Cornett. By the way, Luke Cornett still getting minutes. Shout out to the man that Jim Boylan once said could be Robert Horry. Yeah.
I did the Cornette contest.
Kind of look a little like Luke Cornett there when you did.
Hey, whoa!
I'm just saying.
Hey, whoa!
I'm not saying, but I'm saying no. But I thought
we don't all look like that.
With I think that with more with seeing Tatum and Brown shoot the 3 ball better, you'll see that scoring come up as well. But there is a question on depth. I'm not going to lie to you, dude, because when you go from Al Horford quickly to Hauser, Pritchard, and Cornette, it's a long 82 games.
They just need one of us. They just need one of us to play well on any given night. On the Knicks side, the Knicks fought in this game. I mean, they were down. They were down like what 14 early, and they fought in this game. And you ever like write a note from a game at the beginning, and then you jump to a conclusion too quick, and by the end of it, you're like, oh man, I think I was wrong on that. At the beginning of this game, I wrote the Knicks still have no shooting. And, like, I kind of still believe it. They don't have any guaranteed shooters. Evan Fournier's on the bench going, hey, what do I have to do to get in a game because I'm a shooter? But second half, like last three quarters, basically, the Knicks shooting really kept them in this game. They finished 18 of 41 from three. A bunch of their role players and guys hit threes. You have guys that are confidently stepping into threes. Grimes was 3 of 6. That was huge for them to have somebody like that. Quickly off the bench, 5 of 7 from 3. 24 points for him. He was awesome. And they played him and Brunson together a little bit to try and get that offense going because their defense was still doing well, containing everybody except for Porzingis and Tatum, but they couldn't get anything going on offense. And so that was huge. The other thing in this game we need to talk about, 2 flopping calls in a row. 7-minute mark of the fourth quarter, Porzingis gets a flopping call. And then a minute later, Brunson gets a flopping call that should have been probably a call on Tatum for stepping into his landing space on a 3. You like the flopping call? You like that?
I do. I'm not going to lie to you because to me it's the thing that NBA fans have been asking for forever, right? You have to penalize.
We had it. We used to have it.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that it's back, I guess, because here's the thing. When you take away the penalty of it, you see it run rampant because they're going to play within what the rules allow. And guess what? If I do this move and we get 2 shots out of this could be a win at the end of the season. We had it in the Chicago Bulls game tonight. DeMar DeRozan did his patent pump fake, maybe did a little lean, but Lou Dort goes flying 15 feet. And I didn't even pay attention to it at first. And I was like, why are we shooting a free throw here? Who got a tech? What did Lou Dort say? I saw the flopping come up, and I was like, that's exactly what I want to see because they're going to have to adjust. Teams, a lot of times, right, we get these new calls that come in, and nobody actually enforces them. So then it's kind of like, okay, we got to test it out and see if they're actually going to enforce it. And then by the end of the season, it's like, well, they didn't enforce it, so we just kept doing it. It didn't matter at the end of the day. I think that they're actually going to enforce this because this is one that Adam Silver actually wants to get out of the game. And remember, LeBron has never flopped a day in his life, according to LeBron. Hey, but I want to see how many calls he gets on this.
I don't just hit people.
Coming up, let's talk about the James Harden trade some more. Is it done? Adrian Wojnarowski reported the Clippers are probably out on it. Jordan Poole on his legacy. We'll talk about all that and more coming up. But before we do, let me tell you about FanDuel. FanDuel has the props and odds and lines all over the sports world. All kinds of stuff. You got the Texas Rangers in the World Series. You can pick some props on that. You got the NFL going with your Bears.
Yeah.
The Bears. Put down $5. You can get $200 in bonus bets no matter what you bet on. No matter if you win or lose on that either. FanDuel.com/lockedon. See what's available for you. They have all kinds of other stuff. MVP for the NBA. Jokic after his great debut in the NBA this season. Plus 430. Luka plus 550. He looked incredible. Giannis plus 650 on that one. Check out, and then Tatum even plus 650 on that. Go check out all the other kinds of props and odds and lines like that one. FanDuel.com/lockedon is the place to be. Put down $5, get $200 bonus bets, win or lose. FanDuel.com/lockedon. Thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On NBA, being an everydayer, listening every day. Tomorrow's show, Adam Mares, Tony East, Adam Mares, Wes Goldberg, different white guy. We'll talk about the NBA and breaking down all the games and all that. All right, Pat, let's play Count It Up, where we count all the most interesting, fun things in the NBA, including James Harden. Adrian Wojnarowski reports on the ESPN set. The Clippers are stepping back from the James Harden trade. They've talked for months, and the Clippers believe they've made their best offer. The Clippers may revisit this at a later time. They're the only team interested and the only team that has made their best offer, so they think, why should we try to compete and negotiate against ourselves. My question is, scale of 0 to 5, how much do you believe that the Clippers are done with this?
I think that that is a 5 for right now.
You think they're done?
I think they're done until they see what they actually have and how healthy that's going to be. And I think that's probably what Philly's going to end up waiting out for. I mean, listen, I don't know what this feels like. Pat Riley a little bit, doesn't it? Like, I don't know what they're looking for here back in Philly. Like, this guy is legitimately turning into a cancer in your locker room. Like, he showed up with bags packed, ready to go, and you told him to go home. Like, what are you holding on to him for? Oh, we have to get the best value that we can. The best value that you can is keeping that dude that's really tall and really good at basketball and has an MVP trophy sitting in his house happy. That's the best thing that you can do for the Philadelphia 76ers right now. And stop worrying about trying to get back one of these young guards or whatever it is that you're looking for. Like, what do you want the entire Clippers bench here?
They got to get something for him. Like you said, they've got to keep Embiid. And to keep Embiid, you've got to get something for James Harden. I mean, they're too far down the hole now. Think about what they gave up. I mean, the Ben Simmons thing aside, I guess, but they gave up stuff to get James Harden. So to not get stuff back, like any kind of stuff, would just set them back so far. I mean, look at them without James Harden. Okay, Tyrese Maxey maybe steps up. Tobias Harris is expiring. They're betting on this cap space in the future. Okay, other than that, like I'm really not feeling good about the Sixers' ability to recover from this if they don't bring James Harden back at all.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, though.
I'm at a 2 on if I believe the Clippers are done. I think that they're kind of like pushing their cards in the middle and be like, all right, we made our offer.
Yeah,
you guys, let's be for real, right? Everything you just said about the Sixers, like, let's be for real. Nobody else is making an offer, so either you're just going to keep him and lose him for nothing or whatever, or figure out the CBA implications for him not playing a game for you because he said he's not going to play a game for that GM in Daryl Morey anymore. And so the Clippers are like, we're not going to negotiate against ourselves. I'm kind of with them on this. I don't think they're done with it, but I think that they're just all right. We're just going to push it in the middle and see what you guys do. They're doing the negotiation tactic. Have you ever watched 30 Rock, where the Alec Baldwin character is a dad and he's got a young kid and his nanny is over, and like the nanny is taking on less days and she wants to keep the same salary, and he's like tries to negotiate, and he's like this crazy good negotiator, and all she does is sit there and like peel a tangerine, and she's like, so what you want to do? And and then all of a sudden the baby starts screaming in the corner, and he's like, you'll just keep the same salary and we'll just move forward. This is what the Clippers are doing. They're just sitting there peeling a tangerine and being like, what you want to do? What you want to do, Daryl Morey? And then James Harden cries in the corner.
Well, here's the thing. You're getting something back because James Harden makes $35 million.
Gotta get something.
You gotta be sending something. It's not like they can send you Jordan Miller and Amir Coffee.
The problem is the thing that they're going to send is Marcus Morris and Robert Covington.
Something. Robert Covington played 23 minutes.
We're not playing the consolation prize of Robert Covington.
You got no choice. You got no choice.
That's where we're sitting here.
Who else is calling?
That's why we're sitting here peeling the tangerine. The Clippers are doing nothing. I mean, they're just sitting there.
Listen, maybe they're waiting to see if the Bulls end up imploding.
Hey, the Bulls already had a players-only meeting, so anything can happen.
Day one, baby. Hey, I'm not going to lie to you. I'd rather have it today than later. Just move on from it. If we need another one, just move on.
If the Mavs would have lost, they probably would have had one as well. Jordan Poole, in an interview with The Ringer, I believe, talked about playing the game I love at the highest level. My family's taken care of. My basketball legacy is taken care of with the ring. This is probably the first time in my life I'll play basketball with no pressure. So that's kind of how you look at it. But it's a really good opportunity. It's a cool opportunity. Dope opportunity. Scale of 0 to 5. How much do you agree with my basketball legacy is taken care of when it comes to Jordan Poole?
I mean, I don't think he's saying that he's got a Hall of Fame legacy here, but I do think that he's a very key piece to a ring that Stephen Curry got that he doesn't get without him. I do agree with that. On the flip side of that, I think also right now, I do agree with him playing with no pressure because there's no expectation for the Wizards. We look at this team and I'm like, maybe this team can be better than what a lot of people think it is, but it's not like I feel like at some point the Wizards are going to build a championship contender. I don't even know if the Wizards know how to build a championship contender or where to start.
Do they know what the Larry O'Brien trophy looks like? Have they seen it?
I mean, listen, like, I think that's really what he's saying here. Like, I do believe. What did you say? Scale of 1 to 5 or 1 to 10?
It's always 0 to 5 because you get the option.
0 to 5. I give me a 1 on this. Like, I do believe that he has no pressure on him at this point because there's no expectation for him.
He got paid.
I expect him to go out there and look off Denny Avdia for every single shot and shoot it.
He's going to too. Yeah, the basketball legacy thing, I guess it all depends on what you think your legacy is, right? Yeah. Like if he says, we think of basketball legacy, you talk about LeBron, you talk about, the players that want to go to the Hall of Fame. For him, what if this was his one goal? To get paid, to go win a title. He did those two he's already done those two things, so maybe that's for him enough. But yeah, the basketball legacy thing, we talk about the word legacy, and it seems to mean something different than the career Jordan Poole has had right now, but maybe it's not.
Listen, everyone's legacy is different. It's not like Jordan Poole is going to be out of the league. Like the one thing that he will always have is he'll have that season that he won his ring and that he was a major reason why he won his ring. That will be a story, right? Like how many of the NBA guys do we always talk about as like, you don't talk about the regular season or you don't talk about these long playoff runs. You talk about that moment with that guy. Heck, Robert Horry's built a career off of that moment. He's got a lot of that moments, but I mean, realistically, we talk about Big Shot Bob just for those championship shot moments.
PJ Brown being the only buyout guy to ever contribute to a championship team. Like he had a whole career and all we talk about is that one Celtics run where he got picked up and he's like, oh, the one buyout guy that ever contributed. Felt like
he was elite.
So there you go. Let us know in the comment section. What did you think about Wembanyama's debut? What do you think about the Harden trade, Jordan Poole, all that kind of stuff? Go check out Locked On Bulls. Pat and Hayes got you covered for all the players-only meetings that they're going to have this season. I got you covered over on Locked On Mavs with all the Luka, the Kyrie, the Dereck Lively of it all. Got it all over there on Locked On Mavs. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On NBA.
Bye-bye.
Boom!